some people don't want to hire an agency. They just want to do it themselves. Or maybe they have an in-house person. They want a task with doing their own SEO. So what we've decided is we're going to go ahead and literally share our playbook with you. Now, this video isn't going to do that. It's going to be a synopsis of what is actually in this playbook, but our agency has existed for over a decade. We have ranked, no kidding, thousands of websites. We have been doing this 2008, 2009. Previous agency went back to literally 2000. The point is we've been doing this for a very, very long time. If you're watching this video and you found us maybe even through SEO, perhaps you saw our Google reviews. If you haven't looked at our Google reviews, go look at our Google reviews. And I think you will find that we're one of the few SEO agencies that truly know what they're doing. And I feel pretty confident in saying that there is only a handful of other SEO agencies in the United States, if not worldwide, where we're gonna say, okay, that other agency over there is representing one of our competitors, and we're gonna go up against them, so we're gonna have our hands full. But 99% of other agencies out there, we're gonna beat. That's hands down. We're gonna beat, and we're gonna beat them with the approach that we're gonna share, right?
Yep.
So this is Jen. Jen has been with us for quite a while, but Jen, why don't you just quickly talk about this approach and you know where it comes from and all that?
Yeah. So our SEO approach, I feel like, is very unique to our agency. I would venture to bet, I don't have eyes into other agencies, but I would guess that most are not doing it this way. And we didn't always do it this way either. It has taken us years of perfecting this to really figure it out. Instead of just kind of looking at a situation and going task by task or fixing little problems as we go, we've really perfected a process that can be adjusted per client and per website, but really works for just about anyone. We've been working on this process of SEO tasks. We put them into cycles, and I'll explain more about this, but for over 5 years, and it has been working. So we're ready to share it.
And it's worked for us. We beat the other SEO companies here, especially in the Orlando area, and go see where we rank versus the rest of the gang, and go from there. But so let's jump in. So you just mentioned the cycles, but everything with us starts with the research, and it starts with the prep. So talk real quick, doesn't have to be in great detail, but what are some of the things we do in research and prep that are going to be shared in the playbook document?
Yeah, so really what's happening in the beginning of an SEO campaign, depending on what your goals are, we're looking at the current situation that you're in as well as your competitors, and using SEO tools to pretty much analyze everything and see what's missing so we can fill in some of the gaps and then get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
We look at competitors to reverse engineer what they're doing to see how competitive we need to be, using tools like Ahrefs, and we actually also use Bright Local to analyze current ranking situations and local listings. And then where we go from there is building a foundation to make sure that the health of the brand and the website is intact before we start pushing it along.
Right, because we almost view ourselves as more as an accelerator, and so if you have a great product, then that's what we're going to accelerate. But if you have a bad product, or if you have a bad reputation online, bad bedside manner, medical professionals, then we would essentially accelerate that. And so we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that what we're working on is genuinely going to achieve your goals, which is going to be build your brand and get you more leads and so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So in building that foundation, we're going to make sure that all the proper connections are set up with Google so that Google understands what's happening with your business. If you're a local company and you have an office, we want to make sure that your Google My Business listing is set up and optimized appropriately. We're also going to set up your Google Analytics if it's not there. We'll check it if it is. And then you also want to make sure that your Google Search Console account is set up and connected to your website appropriately. This one we see missed a lot when people haven't worked with an agency or haven't really done SEO before. They don't even know that this is a tool. So that's a big one.
Okay. So then we've done the research, we've done the prep work, and we laid the foundation to make sure that everything is good. So then we're going to jump into what we call technical. So what are some of the quick things, just a few things that I know there's a huge laundry list here, but just a couple of things that we do on the technical side.
Yeah. So we're going to look and make sure that the website is secure. So more or less what this means is there's an SSL certificate attached to the hosting. It shows HTTPS at the beginning of your URL, not HTTP. That's a very important thing when it comes to ranking. We also suggest looking at your website on a mobile device, testing the contact forms on your site to make sure that they're going where you want them to go, because otherwise you're getting leads and they're disappearing into thin air. And we also make sure that the website is up to date. So if you are on a platform where the CMS needs to be updated on a regular basis, or there's plugins on the site, if you have WordPress, just making sure that all of that is up to date.
Okay. So we've done the research, we've built the foundation, we know that whatever our foundation is at this point in time, we can really build on. And so then from a technical aspect, kind of the first things that we do is we really kind of we cross the T's, we dot the I's, we make sure that everything has its place and we are continuously good to start building up the actual success and the rankings of the website. So then that next component as part of this build up is really the on page, meaning the content of the site. So share a little bit with us what we will be providing in the playbook on especially how to plan for that and how to be successful with it.
Yeah, so everything that I've talked about up until this point, you can find on any website. You can just go and find SEO best practices and kind of look at it like a checklist and just check it off as you go along. You don't need anyone necessarily to tell you what to do there. The unique part of what we do is we have cycles built into our plans where we break up sections of things that need to be done on your site to be successful for a specific target, and then you'll go through each step of that. And there are different tools that we'll provide, one being a spreadsheet that we use to plan our on-page optimization for a specific page that you're trying to rank, because you want to focus on one at a time and the keywords that you would like that page to rank for, the content on that page, and then also the supporting other content that's on that website that you will link internally to that page. And we have a unique spreadsheet that helps us plan all of that out.
And so the planning a lot of times is done obviously by keyword, and then it is done based on this cycle system. So not only is the playbook, hey, here's what you need to do, but it also sets it up in a way that you're not completely overwhelmed thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do all of this at the same time. You kind of, you're spoon-fed how to actually do it, and it's set up in a way that it builds on itself.
Absolutely.
So they're like building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's an order that you want to do things in so that it looks natural in the eyes of Google too. So this lays out that roadmap of what you need to do in what order.
Okay, very cool. Okay, that makes perfect sense actually. And for lots of small business owners or individuals, maybe even at agencies, they don't necessarily have time to do everything all at once. So if they can kind of piecemeal it and do something, finish that, come back, do more a few days later, then that's very helpful to break it up like that.
And you may be able to take sections of that and give it out to different people in your team.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So that's the on-page piece, which I know creates a lot of relevance and it helps Google understand the content of the website better. And oftentimes what we like to explain to people is that a lot of times really kind of locks in your rank. But the ranking piece, the part that makes the website climb in the Google rankings so that more and more people find you, the off-page piece, the link building piece, there's a lot to that. And there definitely has to be a strategy there. So why don't you share a little bit of what we do there, how we do that, and what people get as part of this playbook?
Yeah, so off-page, the link building part, this is the hardest part of SEO, and this is usually where people either get stuck or are find it intimidating for good reason. So what we break down is how to analyze your competitors and what link building you need to do to be successful. Based on what they're doing, the types of links they're building, the anchor text in those links, where the links are coming from, how many, how fast they're building their links, things like that. And we will provide a spreadsheet that we use to analyze competitors and break down those numbers. And we also use that same sheet to track the links that have been built to our site so that you can actually go back and analyze it over time as well. A lot of times when we build links, and what we're doing is manually reaching out to other websites and negotiating a price with them to put content on their site or put a link into content that already exists on their website. A lot of times when you pay for those links, these people, they're just, they're trying to get the money for that link, they'll build it, and then they think that you're never going to go back and check it. Well, this organization spreadsheet gives you a means to go back and check on it later to make sure they didn't remove it, they didn't mark it as a no follow, they didn't just take your money and then kind of
disappear, ghost on you, or suddenly pull a fast one, so to speak.
It happens more than you would think.
Really interesting. Okay, so and our playbook provides people with all the pieces that they will need to do the analysis of what types of links they need and how many of those they need and the kind of anchor text that they need, and then once that has been figured out, then there is a spreadsheet that actually allows them to track the progress based on what they determined is necessary. Okay, all right, very cool. Great. So that's all of that is part of this particular playbook as well. So then what else? What else is in there? What else do we do?
Yeah, the other part of this is a big piece. If you're a local business in a local market, you have that Google My Business listing. You also want to build other directories to support your brand in that market. So there are going to be pieces in here where we're completely transparent with this. We use a program called Bright Local, and we submit directories through this platform. You're gonna have to sign up for it and pay for those directory submissions, or you can look at the list in Bright Local and manually submit them if that's something that you wanna do as well. But we give you the tools and show you how we do it.
Okay, cool. And finally, really it just kind of boils down to a lot of times just going back and evaluating and rinse and repeat. So yeah. what can viewers of the video kind of expect that is going to be in the playbook of what to analyze in this rinse and repeat process?
Yeah, so really what happens throughout these cycles is you have different pieces of each part of this. There's 4 different cycles. We have them labeled A through D, and you have different pieces of the on-page content, local, off-page, all of that spread out throughout all of these. And really what you're doing throughout this process is what we actually recommend is doing a cycle in 1 month and then analyze what happened after that and then look at it and then move on to the next cycle from there. You don't want to just barrel through the whole thing because it's not going to look natural, and it's also very time consuming, so you're never going to do that anyway. But do one section, analyze your rankings. Again, we use Bright Local for this. Sometimes we'll use Ahrefs to look at things as well, but I highly recommend Bright Local. You can look at where you're going, and then once you get to the end of all of the cycles, we say, okay, did we achieve our goal through these 4 cycles or not? If you're still not happy with where you're at, you go back to cycle A, start over. Some of the pieces may not apply the same way because you've already done them, but you'll be able to pick and choose out of there and know really what you need to do.
And so part of that, a goal, for example, would be, I want this keyword. I know this keyword's going to get me a lot of traffic, a lot of leads, so I want to rank high. How high do you want to rank? I want to rank whatever, the top 3. So if through the cycle you achieve that top 3 ranking, then great. You can move on, and now you can do this with another keyword, for example. Or if you didn't quite make it, well then you have the ability to just repeat that cycle to push that keyword even higher. Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. That makes perfect sense. That's kind of it, right? That's the playbook. So you get documentation, you get checklists, you get everything that really lets you know of how to approach that. The one thing that I want to add is that we're also going to share some things of what not to do or what tools not to use. There are different types of tools out there that all claim they kind of do the same thing. So we are also going to provide you our opinion as to which tools might be a little bit better than others. But in any event, we hope this helps. We hope you're going to buy it. We know if you're going to do this, you will be successful. If you have any questions about what the package includes or anything unique to your situation, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help.